and happy ski season. I wanted to do a little video at the beginning of this season to kind of go over my ski setup for the season. I will have some changes coming up just because I have some stuff on the way and I'm sure I'll change it as I go. But I know since the holidays are coming up and there's deals with the season starting and everything, you might be looking to upgrade your gear for this season. I just wanted to get this information and my recommendations out to you before you head out to go shopping or to ski. With that being said, let's get into it. I figured we would start with the boots. Last year, I was skiing on these Fisher Ranger boots, and I actually do really like them. They're a hybrid boot, so if you're looking to ski both in resort and in the backcountry, I think a hybrid boot is a great option, especially if you like to travel and ski and you don't want to carry two boots with you everywhere. Could work. However, I am switching my boots this season. I'm going to be skiing on the Fisher RC4 boots this year. They have a BOA system, which is pretty cool and worth looking into. If you don't know what it is, maybe seeing if it's a good option for you. But they are not a hybrid boot. They are not a backcountry boot, so they will just be my in-resort boot for the year. I think this season I will mainly only be skiing in resort because I'm skiing every single epic pass resort in one season, which will be crazy. Also, this is a medium volume boot and I have a very narrow foot, so I need a low volume boot. I actually did have these fitted so that they would still work with my foot. However, I would not recommend that. I just got these without thinking last year. So my biggest tip for boots is to go in person and get fitted because each brand and style of boot is different for everybody. Fits everyone's foot. Everyone's foot is a different shape, width, size, everything. And I genuinely think in order to get the best foot and to be the most comfortable on the mountain, you should go in and get your foot measured and fitted so that you can ski with the best ski boot for your ability of skiing. Because then you won't be in trouble like me with a medium volume boot with a low volume foot. However, I do really like these boots and I will continue to wear them when I'm touring. Next up, helmet. I have the Giro Ledge helmet with MIPS in them. When you are purchasing a helmet, you absolutely need to get a helmet with MIPS. It is a no-brainer, aka you will have no brain if you don't get one. I really like this one because it's simple and clean, and also the goggles that I really love, the Giro Contour goggles, fit really nicely like this. I think when you're shopping for a helmet and goggles, it really helps to get the same brand. Like these are Giro goggles and a Giro helmet, because then you're gonna have that perfect fit here and no goggle gap. I also recently discovered this new helmet brand called Revy, which I think is really cool. A single gal started it all by herself and she's putting so much attention to the safety of your head in these helmets, putting it through a crazy amount of testing that I don't think is normally done to helmets when they are produced. So I will link her below, and this is her Instagram. I have no affiliation with her. I just think she's doing really cool stuff. So I actually probably need to get a new helmet. You're supposed to either get them if you have a bad crash and make a dent on your helmet, or every 3 years, I would say. And I can't remember if this is my 3rd or 4th season on this one, so I'm definitely going to be looking into getting a new one. But that's a little bit about helmets. Another cool product that I use with my helmet is called a Cardo. It uses these speakers and they go in the inserts in your ear on your helmet. And then you attach this little device to the side of your helmet and you have your friend attach this one to the side of theirs. It goes right on here like this. You honestly don't even notice it. When you're skiing, I forget about it. And then people ask me what it is and I'm like, oh, I don't even remember that it's sticking out. But it's so cool because when you have two of these hooked up together, you can talk to each other while you're skiing. So if you're skiing with friends and you guys want to make sure you're not getting lost on the mountain and you're all going the right way, or I'm taking a lot of ski trips with my dad, and I think that will be really helpful so that we can communicate clearly and not be yelling to each other on the mountain. Or I also think it would be a really cool way to teach someone how to ski if you're following them and giving them critiques as they go. But that's a really cool tech product that I do have a discount code, so I'll put the link for that down in the description as well. Oh, I wanted to touch a little bit more on the goggles. These are the Giro contour goggles. They are the large size, not reduced size, although I do feel like that's something to consider when you're buying goggles, is whether or not you need the reduced size, because these ones definitely push on my nose a little bit. However, I love how large they look on my face. I think it just is a good aesthetic. Also, the goggles come with 2 lenses. These are for when it's sunny out, and then they'll have a low light lens as well, which is going to be like a more clear lens, or sometimes they're yellow or just don't have this like reflectiveness to them, because then when you're skiing on a super cloudy day, or maybe it's a snowstorm and there isn't a ton of light, you need to be able to see more of that. Whereas these act more like sunglasses while you're skiing and don't blind you. All right, next up, we got my poles. I grew up ski racing, so when it came to buying poles for me, I really wanted to stick with this system that Leaky has, and I'll show you. So basically, pole strap attaches to my glove, clips in here. You just like push down while you're skiing, and then it's just attached, and you don't even have to worry about holding on to your pole straps, and they're super easy to click off and click back on. And since I grew up with this, I'm just so used to it, so that when I just feel like I can't have another pole design. However, had to switch from the racer poles, like the red and yellow ones, completely. I found these pink ones, and I also love that they are adjustable height. Because I have these, I think that they're great for skiing in resort and in the backcountry, because in the backcountry it's really, really helpful to have adjustable poles. Because when you're going uphill, you want them to be a lot longer so that you can use your arms to get some grip and push off. And obviously when you're going downhill, you want them to be your normal length. Also, the baskets are powder baskets. I feel like most poles come with this. Actually, I'm not gonna say that, because this is important to take note of too, because some poles come with smaller baskets. So if there's a ton of snow and you push your pole into the snow, it could just sink down in there. But that bigger basket prevents it from doing that. There's also a benefit to having the backcountry poles that have like a longer rubber part up here as a handle, so that you can like kind of adjust where your hand is a lot more easily without adjusting this as much. But I like these because I think that they work well for me in resort and out of the resort, and I really only need 1 pair of poles. Another thing to kind of play with is how light your poles are. I know some come a lot heavier, and these ones I find super lightweight, and I just got really, really comfortable with that. But they also make carbon ones that are even lighter. I think that they might break easier. I don't know. But when you're looking into getting new poles, just take all of these things into consideration. I like the Leaky Spitfire poles because of all the reasons I just listed. And that's about that. For mittens, I have 2 companies, brands, that I use the most, I would say. My sister actually hand makes these out of real hide leather, which I think is so cool. They come with a fleece insert to keep your hand dry and warm, and these are my go-to. But I'm also a big fan of Eau Claire gloves. I have found these to be really, really warm, and depending on which style you get, they are really waterproof as well. These are definitely more of like an after skiing après mitten, but this brand is good. I also really like Hestra for mittens and gloves. I grew up ski racing with Hestra gloves, and I really, really do love that brand as well. On to neck gaiters. There are 2 different styles that I really like to wear. The first is like a neck tube like this, and the way you put it on, I always pull my little strands out first and put them in my mouth, and then you pull it over your head. Actually, I should just do this for you. You're gonna put your hair back in your ponytail, pull out your strands like this, pull it over your head like this, and then take the chin and kind of fold it like that. So then this will all tuck back into the helmet, and you'll be left with this that you can pull up to keep warm, and you still have your strands out. That is one way. The way I usually ski is with this, because I think it holds my hair back really nicely. Also, my favorite place to shop for these neck tubes is from Skida, and I will link that down below as well. I'll actually have everything linked, I think, in one big folder. Unless there are certain things I have discounts for, then I will link those separately so that you can see this discount next to it. And then the second style of neck tube gaiter that I really like is this kind from Outpost. They also make these fun cozy hats that I'm wearing. This actually turns into a hat, which is why I like it, because you know when you're like skiing with your friends and you're skiing hard and then they say, oh, let's go to lunch, and then you get to lunch and you don't have a hat to put on, which is like fine, you can embrace it. But if you want to take your helmet off and you don't want to look like you have the worst helmet hair ever, this is where this comes in. So if you're wearing this around your neck, just as a normal neck tube, then when you go to lunch or après ski, you can cinch it up like this. And then I like to give it a nice little fold, and you can wear it as a hat. So that's great about that. I also like to tuck this little strand in there, but anyways, I think it's a great multi-use tool we got here. On Outpost, I do have 5% off, so I will link that down below. Okay, now for a fun part. Let's chat about skis. These two are my pride and joy. I guess we should talk about bindings too. But first, skis. Okay, I grew up ski racing on Fisher skis, so I know that I like the style that their skis really well. I'm just comfortable with it. And now that I don't ski race, I just do like free ride, big mountain free skiing, whatever you want to call it, just for fun. You know, I'm just skiing for fun. But like, we're doing a wide variety of stuff. The Fisher Ranger is what I have found to be my favorite ski to do all of that on. It comes in a few different widths, different underfoots. Your underfoot is this part right here. These are 102s and these are 108s. These are my two favorite, but I also ski on, I think it's like a 96 underfoot or a 94. I think these are a fabulous all mountain ski. Because I grew up racing, I really do still love to carve, and I think the Ranger does a great job at that. But I also think that it's playful enough to still be fun in the moguls and in the powder and just really anything. It's truly an all mountain ski for me. But they are still strong and able to hold that edge for me to carve really nicely on them, and that's why I love them. The Ranger 102s, I would say, are my daily drivers. And then the 108s I bring out typically more when it's a powder day, but they still do carve really nice, so sometimes I just ski on them because I like them too. Also, I'm a pretty small gal, so like maybe you would want a wider ski than a 108 for the powder if you are bigger than me, but I also feel like, honestly, you're fine. I don't know. It's fun to try out different stuff. I also think with skis, like I was saying with boots, like boots you should go get fitted. Skis are really great to demo because you kind of want to try before you buy, I think. I obviously love these and would highly, highly recommend them. But at the same time, I think that it's a good idea to demo skis before you invest in them. These, I just have a normal in-resort binding on them. On my 102s, I have the Atomic Shift binding, which I really like because of its versatility. It allows me to go skiing in resort and in the backcountry. And when I first got these skis, they were really going to be my only pair of skis that I'd be using, and I wanted to use them for both. So I love that these bindings gave me that ability. But I have heard some not great stories about these bindings as well. Since the majority of them is made of plastic, I've heard that they can get frozen and crack and break when you're skiing in the backcountry and trying to transition. They also, I will say, do take a little bit longer to transition because they have elements of a resort binding as well, and it just makes it a bit more complicated. These are the skis that I use for backcountry skiing primarily. Also, I want to take a moment for the bottom of these. How sick is that? I just have a little pin binding on these. What that means is this pin goes into the side of the toe of my ski boot and allows you to like lift your heel and walk up the mountain gliding just by pushing your toes. These bindings are also a lot more simple to transition. It's just a few quick moves. So when I'm at the top, it takes me like a few seconds to transition over, whereas like the shift bindings, I'm gonna be honest, take me a few minutes. I want to touch a little bit more on backcountry skiing as well. These are my skins. Well, one of them, I got these from Black Diamond. I have been told that they are some of the stickiest ones that you can find, but that means I've never had an issue with like them coming off or getting snow stuck in there and not being able to uphill. But I've also never tried anything else, so I don't really have anything to compare their stickiness to. But maybe if you don't want as much of a struggle pulling them off of your ski during your transition, these might be too sticky. However, I think I'd rather have the stickiest, the best they come, you know? Because then I don't run into all the other issues. When you're backcountry skiing, you need to be skiing with a beacon, shovel, and a probe minimum. I would also recommend skiing with a level of education like an Avi 1 course. I will have those linked as well, but your beacon needs to be strapped under a layer and either in a pocket or strapped around you. Some of them come with like a strap that goes around you, and then say I was skinning in this, I would put it in between here and have that like strap around this shirt, or maybe there's a pocket in this layer that I can put it into. Overall, you don't want it to be on your top layer, just because if you were to be caught in an avalanche, you don't want your clothes to be ripped off of you and the beacon separated from you, and then you not being able to be found. That would be bad. Your probe and shovel are pretty lightweight. You can get a variety of sorts. I can't remember what the recommended probe length is. I think mine is 280, which when I took my Avi 1 course, they said maybe get one a bit longer. So I would look into that if I were you. This is not professional advice here. I'm just telling you what I have, and hopefully it helps you figure out what you need to have. I feel like this is also turning into like a ski gear for dummies, including me video, just because I'm explaining everything so literally, like how a pin binding works. But you never know who's watching this, and I feel like skiing is a hard sport to get into. There are so barriers, like financially, but also educationally. And there's this like stigma around it that like you're cool when you know, but like I had people teach me all of this stuff, so I want you to be able to have easy access to all of this knowledge that was given to me by people that love me and I love you. So hope this is helping. Where you put your beacon, shovel, probe is in a backpack. So every time you are backcountry skiing, you will have your beacon, your beacon is on you, your shovel and probe, and anything else you need in a backpack. I'm talking fuel, water, layers. You might put your skins in here when you transition. I also really like to use radios while we backcountry ski. I really like this brand, Rocky Talkie. I think that they're really simple and easy to use. They don't have like the multiple pieces going on, and their reach is further than some of the other ones we have tried. So I really like this brand. Cooper and I have a set of these that we bring while we go backcountry skiing. That way we can talk to each other, let each other know when the coast is clear, all that. Backpack. This one is Osprey Sopris 20. I feel like the 20 liters is a good amount. You could go more. You also could go less. I guess I overpack always, but I would rather overpack. But maybe you're into super ultralight things, in which case you probably aren't asking me for advice. You probably know what you're doing already. But this is the Osprey Sopris 20. It has a pocket up here for easy access to stuff. It has a pocket on the back for easy access. Then there's the big pocket in the front, and there's pockets in here to put your beacon. Nope, why do I keep saying that? There's pockets in here to put your probe. I also would recommend keeping your shovel and your probe in their own separate pocket, so that when you open it, you're not digging through a bunch of stuff to grab it. Like, you need to have these safety things easily accessible. Another thing that I really like about this backpack and what makes it a backcountry skiing backpack is that it has this to attach your helmet in here to your backpack. So if you're going uphill and you don't want to get too hot and sweaty, you can put your helmet there. It also has these loops and clips on the side to put your a ski on both sides to make that A-frame for when you're boot packing. Really great backpack. It also has the hip strap and chest strap, which I think are really helpful for when you are doing those boot packing stuff especially. But honestly, overall helpful. What else? Oh, let's talk layers and what to wear while skiing. First, let's start with base layers. On the coldest of cold days, you're going to find me in my thickest merino wool base layers. Merino wool is amazing. It is temperature regulating. It absorbs moisture so you're not getting hot and wet and sweaty and then getting cold from being wet, but it still keeps you really, really warm. So when you are skiing in really cold temperatures, this is going to be your best friend. I also don't mind it in other temperatures just because it is temperature regulating. So even if you're getting like a bit too hot, it's not going to make you sweat as much, or at least it'll absorb the sweat, if that makes sense. I mean, I wouldn't wear this if it's like super, super sunny and hot out, but I'm just saying. If it is a little bit warmer, you'll probably find me in more of like a lightweight merino wool layer. My favorite heavyweight one is from Karitra or Smart Wool. They both make really, really great ones that I think that are really soft on my skin. Sometimes wool can be a bit itchy, but if you are really sensitive to that, I would actually go with this lighter weight one. This one's from Half Days, and it's a mix of the merino wool plus bamboo, and it's really soft. Like, this is not itchy on your skin. However, it's also very, very thin, so like, you're not gonna be able to see this, but it's not gonna be your warmest option. However, it's good for those medium temperatures. Or maybe it's a really good option for you if you're overstimulated by the itchy woolness, you know? And then if it's really warm, I just go for a different kind of performance athletic top that again like is moisture wicking but isn't that wool layer. This one is from REI, and they actually have a lot of great options all over for like honestly any of this gear. I actually think a lot of the gear I've gotten is from REI because you can pay $30 to be a lifetime member, and then you can try things, and if you buy them and you don't like, you use them and you don't like them, you can actually return them. And if you're a member, you can then shop all of those used return items in their garage sale, which is an amazing way to get discounted gear, because a lot of times there's not much wrong with it. Maybe there's a tiny thing wrong with it that you can fix, or maybe someone just didn't like it. Great resource. Now for what to wear on top. I just pulled a couple different styles of jackets, snow pants that we could go through. I would say my all-time favorite is just a shell jacket and pants. I think it's the best way to be able to layer the way you want to so that you can control what temperature you are on the mountain. This is almost like, it almost feels like a thick raincoat. I typically run warm on my upper body when I'm skiing because I'm like generating heat while I'm skiing intensely. But if it is colder, I will layer it with a light puffer underneath. This one is from Peak Performance. I really like this one. Also, this is from Columbia. Also, we'll have all of these linked. Sometimes I like to wear like a little vest. You can kind of play around with it, especially when you have a shell, just because it doesn't have all the built-in layers. So I think it makes it a lot more easy to customize. Also, when you're backcountry skiing, I think a shell is just a must. I think an insulated kit for backcountry skiing is just too much. So if you're, if you're getting into backcountry skiing and an insulated kit is all you have, I don't think that it is worth buying a whole brand new kit because they are expensive until you have tried it out and know that you really like it and make sure that it's something you want to get into. If you'll use the kit in resort as well, then I think it's a good idea, but always a good thing to like build these things up over time just because skiing is such an expensive sport. I think that it's a bit unnecessary to go all in all at once, especially before you've tried it out, and make sure you like this stuff. As for insulated kits, this one is from Scenic. I really like this one because it has a lot of pockets. The bibs in particular are some of my favorites. They are actually insulated, but I have worn them backcountry skiing because they're like not too insulated. They have the outer layer and one inner layer, but they don't have like a ton of insulation in between them. The top of these are like a different material that's like stretchier, if that makes sense, and kind of form fits to you. And they have 2 pockets up here, which I really like. And the most important thing for me is having the 2 leg pockets on snow pants. Just kidding, I lied. That's not the most important thing. When you're shopping for snow pants, this is what you need. A zipper that zips the butt off so that you can go peeing in the woods without getting naked. It is a must. I refuse to wear anything that does not have that feature. That's really important. I really like Scenic because it's a women-founded company. They're pretty new, and I just think that they're doing a great job paying attention to what women actually need with, you know, all the functionality aspects while still making it super cute and in fun colors. I like really love the overall silhouette of this. It's almost has kind of like a barrel feel to it, but I really like that. Also, a lot of jackets nowadays, which I do really like, is have this pocket on your arm here for your pass. So if that's something that's important to you, I would look out for that. Sometimes I get too warm in an insulated jacket, and I'm not able to take off layers because you only will have your base layer underneath. So that's what I think the benefit of having a shell jacket is. However, if it is a colder day, I think that an insulated jacket is a great idea. I'm trying to think if I covered everything. Oh, I forgot one thing. I actually forgot 2 things. Some things for the girlies that get really cold on the mountain. This is a portable charger and a heater, a hand warmer. So you can stick it in your pocket. I think the one that I will have linked down below is actually this, but like split in half. So it'll be 2 smaller ones of these. So you can put one in each pocket. This thing gets so hot, like absurdly hot, like almost too hot. And you can plug your phone into it here. So I think it's a great tool to have on the mountain if you're like me and you want to take your pics and make your TikToks. And the second thing are these heated socks. Typically, I just wear a standard wool sock. However, if it's a really, really, really cold day, I charge these bad boys and you just button them in to this right here. And you fold it over so you don't even notice it's on your sock. And there's 3 different temperatures, powers of heat on here. And it heats the whole bottom base of your foot. And these are incredible. I've had these since beginning of high school and I still have the same pair. So they definitely have lasted me through the years and I love them. A note about those, the specific brand I have is Lens, and I will link that, but they are a bit pricey. Obviously an investment if they've lasted me like over 10 years, I think. But I also understand, like, if you don't want to have that large upfront cost, I will link some other ones that are more affordable. I can't speak to the quality of them, but just so that you have options. And where to store all of this stuff? This is my trusty boot bag. I actually think I got this when I was in elementary school, I want to say. I cannot believe that it has lasted me this long. And it's like a black hole for fitting my stuff. Boot here, all of my gear in here. Helmet, goggles. You could even fit a kit or 2 in here, I swear. It doesn't even look that big, but it's a black hole. And then when you're traveling with your skis, it's really important to get a padded ski bag. You do not want those babies of yours to be risked being broken. I've never had it happen. I also always travel with a padded ski bag. This year, I actually am looking to upgrade my bag setup because, like I mentioned before, I'm going on a big ski tour to ski all of the Epic Pass ski resorts, and I need to be able to travel with a lot, I think, at a time. I'm gonna be gone a lot this winter, so I'm actually hoping to find a boot bag that fits all of this plus like everything I will be traveling with in more of like a checked luggage size. But up until now, I usually just check this and my ski bag. I do not check my boots. I carry those on as my personal item because I do think that finding rentals, ski rentals, is pretty easy. You will have a very hard time finding comfortable boot rentals that fit your feet perfectly. Well, you actually won't find them, I think. So I would recommend carrying your boots on. I also have an airline credit card that lets you check 2 bags for free. And I would recommend doing that if you like to travel a lot to ski. I hope this was helpful. It was fun to make and go over all my gear for the season. And I also hope that I helped you maybe learn something that you didn't know already if you are trying to get into skiing or backcountry skiing. I'm sure most of you seasoned skiers knew all of this, but I wanted to make sure that everybody had all of the information that I could personally think of. So, thanks for watching. Like I said, I'll have everything linked below. And I hope you guys have the best ski season ever. And maybe I'll see you out on the mountain. If you see me, say hi. Love you guys. I'll see you next week. Ooh, and comment your favorite ski emoji if you made it this far in the video. Okay, love you, bye.